the sooner we can put our experienced legal team to work for you. Don't hesitate or pause for another minute. Our experience, knowledge, and resources could be working for you just minutes after the call. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith, Ball, Baez, and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith, Ball, Baez, and Prather, help is just a phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
He lives in a pineapple under the sea. And he's back at Lone Depot Park. Marlins SpongeBob Day returns Sunday, June 1st as the Marlins take on the Giants. Last year's SpongeBob jersey broke the internet. This year, it's Patrick's turn. Head on the all-new Patrick jersey to your game ticket and complete the collection. Be there or be a barnacle. Grab your tickets now at marlins.com/SpongeBob.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Who doesn't love 4 to 6 p.m. weekdays when Russo and Rizzo is on the airwaves with Colin Russo, Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. Packed program today. We're going to talk to Steve Politziner a little later on. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander officially, according to Shams Charania just about moments ago, has won the MVP in the NBA. Thunder took a 1-0 series lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. The Indiana Pacers are taking on the New York Knicks at MSG tonight. The Florida Panthers took Game 1 over the Carolina Hurricanes last night in emphatic fashion. Easy, 5-2, 1-0 series lead, and that was at Carolina, too. That series has 5 games, maybe 4, written all over it. Christian Cat, our producer today. We're at the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. 888-760-3776. Haven't heard from Mike yet. If you're watching the stream, you don't see Mike on your video stream. Well, where is Mike? Well, Mike Rizzo was going home. Home is Cleveland for him, to go to a family member's graduation. And Mike Rizzo, who decided to travel on a work day, thought it would be a brilliant idea to get on a Fort Lauderdale to Cleveland flight at 12-something. 12:15, whatever it was. It's a 3-hour flight back north. The plan was for him to land at 3 p.m. And the plan, according to him, was that he would land around 3:05. He would get off the plane, get his bag, because he checked the bag. I don't even need to ask him about that. He checked the bag. Go get his bag at baggage claim, get in a car, and then drive from the Cleveland airport to Cleveland downtown to where ESPN Cleveland is, and then set up a remote broadcast so he could join us. That was the plan for Mike. It came to our attention, I believe, at around 3:33, when Mike had landed about 20 minutes prior, that Mike's plane is stuck on the tarmac due to a lightning delay. And he goes, "Welcome home." So that is the last we've heard of Mike. All we know is that Mike thought it was a brilliant idea and that this was going to work for him to go from Fort Lauderdale to Cleveland, landing at 3 o'clock and trying to make it for a 4 o'clock show. This was doomed from the start.
What really irks me is the ethos of Mike Rizzo, because you've come to learn and know who Mike Rizzo is for the past year on the airwaves of ESPN West Palm. If there's one thing you know about Mike Rizzo, he spares no expense. When he needs convenience, he will take out the checkbook and take care of it. He doesn't want ads on his YouTube. He'll buy every single streaming service when it comes to it.
But when it's 700 screens.
But when it inconveniences us, that's when you want me to get the earliest flight? That's more expensive.
Well, he doesn't want to wake up. That's his thing. He doesn't like waking up.
Wait, you mean setting an alarm?
He doesn't like waking up. So Mike Rizzo decided to take a midday flight and catch a midday early evening show. That was the plan. And he thought that would work because he claimed that the Cleveland airport was 9 minutes from downtown Cleveland. The Cleveland airport, from when I checked at least, to downtown Cleveland, I'm not even sure where ESPN Cleveland is, but I'm under the impression that it's in downtown. So I don't know how big downtown is in Cleveland, but for me, from what I stand, from what I'm seeing, it's a 25-minute ride.
He's also trying to send me straight to voicemail, not once, but twice.
It's a 25-minute ride. Remember, he might not have this number saved. If you're trying to get him on the line, 888-760-3776, he might not have that saved, so he might be thinking it's a stranger.
I'll also welcome anyone who wants to call in and pretend to be Mike Rizzo. If you want to do his job for him, be my guest.
The Cleveland airport is 12 miles away from downtown Cleveland, and I assume that's where the offices are. 25-minute ride, and the plan was to land at your plane at 3 p.m.
Just a joke.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. What was the plan there?
No, Colin will take care of it. He's got the show.
That's fine. No, that's fine. Point B, I don't understand. The way we talked to him, we didn't grill him enough about this yesterday.
Because someone in front of our studio hit a palm tree, like when trying to park. Yeah, so it's a speed bump.
Yes. But I don't know why you're not getting the first flight out. If you're flying on a work day, you get the first flight out. You get the earliest in the morning. If the plan is to go home and you have to be home for something and you want to work, you get out. You're out the door at 6 in the morning. Earlier. And he is landing at 3:10. Make a 4 o'clock flight? What did you think was going to happen?
That's ridiculous.
What did you think was the plan? And he checked the bag. There is no doubt in my mind he checked the bag. Mike Rizzo does not do carry-on. You mentioned convenience. He checks the bag in. And he definitely overpacks and the whole thing. So Mike Rizzo definitely checked the bag, had to go to baggage claim. And I don't know who was picking him up and dropping him off at the studio. He was not making that 4 o'clock slot.
Mike's probably taking his time, too. I think that he knows that eyes are not on him right now.
I disagree with this because Mike will panic. I am under the impression that Mike is under a lot of pressure here. I'm under the impression that Mike is a little nervous. But nonetheless, Mike Rizzo, a little late for the program. And we don't have him on Comrex, but what we do have him is via telephone. We'd like to welcome in Mike Rizzo via phone on his trip from Fort Lauderdale to Cleveland, which he decided was a great move to land at 3 p.m., and now he's running into a plethora of issues. Mike, how are you?
Hello, you guys got me?
Yes, where are you right now?
I am on Interstate 71 heading north to the beautiful flat studios downtown Cleveland.
So let me get something straight. When we talked about this yesterday, you were under the impression that you landing at 3 p.m., that you would be in the office, comfortable and ready to rock and roll by the time 4 p.m. came about. And I'm hearing you're not even there yet?
In my defense, I landed at 2:55. I immediately hit up the Russo and Rizzo chat. We're going to be all good. We're going to be all square. Problem was we landed in a torrential downpour. There were, thunder clouds. They had to shut. They gave us the whole, jet bridge is closed right now.
No bits. You don't have the right. You lost your right to do bits. Get out of here.
We're lost with that. Go ahead.
So they gave me the whole 9 yards of they can't let us deplane. There's lightning in the vicinity. Guys, I had to wait 45 minutes on the aircraft. We landed at 2:50. I did not get off the aircraft till about 10 till. And then, God bless my cousin Blakey. He came and picked me up. Problem is, it's gridlock. For an hour straight, no one was able to deplane. So you had about 6 planes deplaning at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. But I'm passing Denison. All right, I'm about to be downtown. I'm be situated. I'll be on by 4:30. Be on by 4:30.
I have a question for you, Mike. How do you rank the victims in this situation? The options that you have are our fans, Colin Russo, Christian Katz, and yourself. Who is the most victimized by this lightning delay?
I probably think the fans, right? You guys have been on the air for 2 hours.
So full of himself.
Be good to switch things up a little bit.
Okay.
Be good to switch things up a little bit, get a new voice on the show. And then I'd probably put you lot. I'd probably put you lot and then me after that. Grant, I thought 3 o'clock would have been fine. I didn't know that.
Mike, we should have yelled at you for this yesterday. 3 o'clock was not going to be fine.
Yeah, he probably should have. Realistically, I probably should have just took the day. But the problem is we got pink smoke later on tonight at 6 o'clock. Damian Perez and I talking a little Miami soccer.
All right.
So I was kind of in a shoot.
This guy's in a PTO problem. He doesn't want to use a PTO day.
Well, was there not an earlier flight?
Not true.
Was there not an earlier flight?
Not a direct flight. We wanted to do the direct part.
We wanted to do that.
Who's we?
Yeah,
you got a mouse in your pocket?
You wanted to be
Speaking
convenient,
French?
Mike.
Listen,
you wanted convenience.
Boys, in my humble opinion, there's a better chance of something going wrong on one of the connecting flights. At least you got one plane. All you got to do is worry about one plane on a direct flight.
Well, hold on. You were on one plane. It didn't go well.
It went well for, first 2 hours, and then, we landed and all hell broke loose.
So you should have been on the first flight out to Charlotte or Atlanta out of PBI, and then you should have went from Atlanta to Charlotte to Cleveland.
I'm not Colin Russo. Wait. Colin, you wake up at like 3:30 to get on those flights. You wake up at 3:30.
This is a convenience problem.
No, it's a convenience problem. Mike, you should have been on the first flight out.
Inconveniencing us and the fans and inconvenience yourself.
Listen, it's a tough scene right now. I'm not going to lie. But listen, we're on. I'm passing Fulton now. We're getting closer to the East 9th exit and going into downtown Cleveland.
Did you check the bag?
Literally, I'm going to be able to turn that. No, hell no. I'm not a rookie. I'm going to be able to. I'm going to be able to turn that Comrex on. RJ, the movie critic, has me set up. Jordan Climack, Nikki Paulus, all the boys at Cleveland got me set up. We're going to be all right.
No hellos.
You're plugging everybody like this is some beautiful, smooth operation when this has just been a disaster from the get-go, Mike.
Kyle, like I said, it's a tough scene right now.
And
it's truly a tough scene right now.
If you really mean it, you're going to stay on this phone. You're not going to leave the phone. You're never going to hang up until you connect virtually, because I don't want... Yeah, before you actually join the show, not on the phone, because I don't want there to be gray area. I don't want to hang up the phone and then 5 minutes later we get Mike Rizzo after he makes his grand return to his home city, Cleveland. I want you to go to work immediately. I think you've lost...
You're on the clock right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is a day of work, and it should not be interrupted by being sentimental.
What do we got?
Okay.
We'll let you know.
What do we got?
We'll call to you when we need you, all right? Just stay on the line. Thanks, Mike. Christian, Cat, Colin, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Of course, streaming live on YouTube. We got Mike Rizzo joining us via phone. Now, the obvious thing, Christian, is in the 9 minutes since we were doing Theoretically Speaking, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander officially the MVP of the NBA. How about that?
It happened like perfectly between shows.
Well, why are they announcing it at 4 p.m.? And they're doing it on a day when there's not a game? They waited for them to win that first game, and they're like, all right, this is good timing to release it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better before game one?
Yeah, I would think so. That would have been nice to do a little ceremony during that. Now, I will ask you, Christian, is this almost a forgettable MVP? Is this almost a forgettable one?
I won't remember this one. I can tell you that right now. You ask me in...
8 days.
September. Yeah. You ask me after the Oklahoma City Thunder NBA Finals Championship Parade who won the MVP, and I'll give you an I'll give you a long before I eventually get to the conclusion.
I guess it was to the surprise of nobody that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is officially the MVP of the NBA. And the thing about him is he had a good second half yesterday. He did not have an overall great game. They took the game, won by about 27 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in game one of the Western Conference Finals. And the thing about Shai that we talked about a little bit is the first thing I think of when I think of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is I think he is very savvy at getting to the free throw line. I don't think he is an otherworldly ball handler. I don't think he is the best defender I've ever watched. I don't think he's the most athletic person I've ever watched. I don't think he's the best all-around player in the league. I don't even think he's the best player in the league at the moment. But he is very savvy at scoring in the mid-range and getting to the free throw line. Am I okay with him getting MVP? Yeah, I'm not going to lose sleep because Jokic didn't win his fourth or third or whatever it is. Third or fourth, I should say. But I will say that I am on the team of Nikola Jokic being the MVP this year, and I think they waited too long. Now you almost lose a little bit of the juice because this should have been earlier in the postseason. It would have actually helped the Jokic-Gilgeous-Alexander matchup this series.
Maybe it would have helped Jokic in the series.
True.
Added juice, chip on the shoulder.
Maybe they withheld. Now, they decide to do it based on a PR thing. They decide to release the MVP winner when it most suits the story. Now, I don't know why they did it today specifically, but they could have done it 2 weeks ago if they wanted to. They could have done it 2 weeks from now if they really wanted to. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the 2024-2025 MVP. I'm on the team. This is a forgettable MVP. I'd be surprised if he gets another one. I'd be surprised if we're going to be thinking back at one of the great MVP seasons. We've had great MVP seasons in the last 15 years. Steph Curry was an all-time great MVP season. Russell Westbrook averaged the triple-double. Nikola Jokic was unbelievable. Joel Embiid is another forgettable one, probably because it was a solo one, but because he hasn't done a whole lot. He's done a whole lot of nothing outside of that. But there's forgettable MVPs and there's non-forgettable MVPs. He's a forgettable MVP.
Who do you remember to be the most forgettable MVP? Little paradox there.
Who's the most forgettable MVP in your memory? 888-760-3776. Colin Russo, Christian Cat. Mike Rizzo, who's your most forgettable MVP?
He dropped.
So we lost Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So we needed Mike to stay on the air with us. And he hung up?
Yeah, he did.
And he's working today, officially?
Apparently.
Maybe we bring Brian Rowitz in and get him to lose the day.
If Mike had one of those jobs where you can be fully remote, he would 100% be the guy that buys the device that makes it look like you're working and it rolls your mouse for you.
I have buddies who do that, and they just put like a rock on the space bar when they're on the Outlook email. So their email shows up as green, and that means we're working. And they put the space bar, and they just do a big space on a random email, and they do that all day. That's how they do that.
If Mike was able to do that at this job, he would take the first opportunity to do just that.
Selfish. That's Christian Cat. Colin Russo, the most forgettable MVP in your memory. Go ahead.
Well, at least we have someone that can have a little bit of leverage, some pull at this company to join the show in 6 minutes. Steve Politziner.
Oh, our good Karma Brands president. Talk about the big boss. Steve will join us on the flip side of things. So in a couple minutes, we'll hear from Steve. And maybe Steve's going to fire Mike on air.
Forgettable MVP. How about Dirk 07?
Another good one.
I didn't know that happened until I looked it up.
Garnett 04. Garnett is a memorable MVP. Steve Nash is a forgettable two-time MVP.
Yeah, it's a very exclusive club for him to be in that club. It would take me a while if I didn't just look up the list to eventually guess all of the multiple-time MVPs.
Right. And in terms of at least since the 2000s, that'd be one that pops to mind. I think Embiid is going to be viewed as a forgettable one because Embiid has done a whole lot. He's never available. It's an MVP who doesn't play. That's why I think that's an interesting one. 888-760-3776. Let's open it up to all sports because the NFL has a lot, too. The NFL has a lot of forgettable MVPs. Rich Gannon in 2002. That was on a trivia call we had today earlier. But that forgettable ones all throughout sports. Who is the most forgettable MVP to you? 888-760-3776. That's the number to get into the program. If you've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, a bike accident, my friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're the type to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call to take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation now. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. We got Steve Politziner, the good Karma Brands president. If Mike is here, great. If he's not, he is fired. On the flip side, we are taking a timeout on ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Wing Wednesday, brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings. 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, handcrafted cocktails. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike. One star player changed cleats and immediately lost a step. Coincidence? Not on our watch. We've got theories, diagrams, and a guy who knows a guy. This is ESPN 1063.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
This is ESPN 1063, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Find official rules for all your favorite ESPN West Palm contests by visiting ESPNWestPalmContests.com. That's ESPNWestPalmContests.com. You're listening to ESPN 1063, the ESPN app, and streaming on your smart speaker.
The school district of Palm Beach County is your best choice.
It's time to step into kindergarten. Parents, the school district of Palm Beach County is now enrolling kindergarten students. All incoming students receive a free kindergarten readiness kit to help practice reading and math this summer. Register now at palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten. That's palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten.
ESPN 1063 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet. Home of the Miami Heat, now the new home of Inter Miami. Catch all the games and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 1063. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. Hard Rock Bet, roll with us. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida the wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
Kick off your day with a win. Go to F45 downtown West Palm Beach. 45-minute classes, more the functional side of working out, making sure you're flexible. You utilize the muscles that you don't use it necessarily every day. You got to make sure you feel good after it, get a sweat going. You could go do that at F45. They have locations in Wellington as well. You can get your first 3 classes for just $30. I love F45 because I can kind of just turn my brain off. All of a sudden, I show up to class. You get a bunch of like-minded fitness people all around you. You got 2 coaches on site making sure you're not doing anything wrong, and you just follow along on the screen in front of you at what you're supposed to do. High-intensity interval training. Get the heart rate up. Feel good about your day. Start it with a win over at F45. Check out their Instagram, F45 downtown West Palm Beach. Talk about forgettable MVPs. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the 2024-2025 NBA MVP. And I'm leaning on the side that this will be a forgettable one in the grand scope of NBA history. 888-760-3776, number to get into the program. Also, Mike Rizzo is MIA on his way from Fort Lauderdale to Cleveland. Decided to fly from Fort Lauderdale at 12 to land at Cleveland at 3, thinking he can make a 4 p.m. show. He was dead wrong. He's still not with us.
You want something else to chew on? You want me to twist the knife even more?
Sure.
So earlier today, Colin Russo, yourself, filled in for Theo Dorsey.
Right.
Who is away on vacation, paid time off. He's gallivanting across Europe. He has done more work today than Mike Rizzo has when Mike Rizzo's scheduled to work.
Have we needed Theo Dorsey today? What has he done today?
Mike Rizzo posted a short on YouTube with commentary on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's foul baiting.
You mean Theo did?
Theo did, yes.
Yes.
Theo Dorsey did that on YouTube today when pro bono, just totally on him. Mike Rizzo didn't bother to show up.
Wow.
I thought it was Russo and Rizzo. Apparently I was mistaken. Apparently it's Russo.
888-760-3776. No Mike Rizzo. We go to Joe in West Palm joining the program now. Joe, welcome in. What do you got for us?
What's up, boys? I already forgot who the MVP was this year.
Spoken like a true sports fan, Joe. What do you got for us?
I got something better. Did you guys not listen to him telling you his schedule yesterday? I was driving down the road. I'm like, there's no way he's making it to the show. No way he's making it by 4 o'clock.
Joe, we talked about the one thing. Somebody outside the window here at the City Place Studios where we have our show taking place, we could see stuff. And there was somebody that had a little fender bender running into a tree right when he was telling us his travel schedule. And that's where we got sort of sidetracked. But you're 100% right. We should have called it out right at the root that he is not going to make this. Now, Joe, we got to punish Mike. We got to make him feel this when he joins the next 20 minutes or so. Joe, what should we do here?
No, what? Could you cut him off like every 4 minutes?
Turn off his mic when we get Joe. We're stealing that. We'll give you the credit.
All right.
Awesome call. Appreciate you calling in, Joe. We'll cut off Mike Rizzo sporadically throughout the show because he decided to not give us his full 2 hours. We're going to talk to Steve Politzino, the Good Karma Brands president. This is perfect timing because Steve is somebody whose blood, sweat, and tears have built the station. And Mike Rizzo is laughing and what's the word? Urinating on the memory of ESPN West Palm because he thinks he is better than the schedule. Flying from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. and missing his show because he has to go to Cleveland. And you could go to Cleveland, but you got to be on time. Mike's not on time.
Who is on time?
The guy who is on time. Ironic because he's usually not. But his blood, sweat, and tears have built this station. He is somebody who we admire and honor. It is Steve Politzino joining the program. Steve, the Good Karma Brands president, welcome in. No Mike Rizzo. You got myself and Christian. What do you got for us?
Somehow you took a shot at me and complimented me all within one breath. So, well done there. I'm just curious, doesn't show prep start a few hours before? It's not like I get in at 3 and then the show. Don't you? You're either you're ready in position at 2, or you shouldn't be on. But I think you got to go up. You got to look at the manager. You got to look at the content director.
No comment. I mean, geez. Steve, you can say that. I won't say that, but yeah, you can say that.
I'm saying, being on the air is a privilege. You have to. A lot of people would trade places. Is all I'm saying.
Steve, if you were still running, you're involved with the ESPN network. You're always traveling a bunch. We got to punish Mike here. What are you thinking? Steve, can you fire Mike on air?
I would not do such a thing, and that was not my role. And Mike has a manager, and Mike's manager has a manager, and all of those things. I just think it goes to communication and the backup plan. If it was, hey, I'm going to do this, but if I can't make it, I want to make sure you guys are good with it. Was that discussed? Were all the scenarios discussed?
Here's the thing. If Mike wanted to, he could have been on time. Mike had options of connecting flights earlier in the day, but he, didn't want the inconvenience of a connecting flight, and 2, didn't want the inconvenience of waking up earlier for the security of being on time.
That was the reason. He didn't want to wake up early. That was it.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I don't know. I believe there's protocols. There's off days. Is this an off day? His manager approve? I don't know. I don't know what goes on over there, apparently.
Now, Steve, we don't have Mike. I think this was Mike's plan. He told us that he was flying out of Fort Lauderdale at 12 or something like that, maybe a little after 12, and he was going to land around 3 o'clock. And then he exclaimed, we didn't notice it on the air as much as we should have, but he said he was going to land at 3 o'clock and it was going to be no problem for him to be on time for the show because he said that the Cleveland airport and the studios in Cleveland are about 10, 15 minutes apart. We checked. More like 25. So that was number one, a lie. And number two, I thought the travel schedule that he put together was pretty asinine to begin with there.
Yeah, but Mike's still young in his career. I still got to blame management. I feel like that's the kind of thing where a boss or a manager would say, hey, let's think this all through. Is this the best flight? Does this make the most sense? What's important? What do you need to be on? Do we have the backup plan? Yeah, feels very, very lax, very loose.
We have callers calling in from Cleveland cursing me out, saying little bleep Colin needs to shut his mouth because there is lightning all over Cleveland right now, and Rizzo had nothing to do with this delay. We're not complaining about the delay on this flight.
Hold on. Yeah. It's my fault that the lightning came into Cleveland? It's my fault?
Yeah, it's the plan. We're like, welcome to the summer. Everything gets delayed. On a connecting flight? Come on.
Well, he didn't have it. No, Steve. No, one thing I'll say, it was nonstop. Okay, yeah. He had a direct, but he took a direct that landed an hour before. If I got Cleveland people coming at me because their own Mike Rizzo took the wrong flight and should have went earlier, he should have been on PBI to Charlotte, the first flight out, 5:49 a.m. He should have been on that, and he should have went on a Charlotte to Cleveland flight. He would have been in Cleveland before breakfast. That should have been the plan.
I mean, if he wanted to make sure that he did a show. I do like that the Cleveland folks are getting Mike's back, though.
I wanted to get them on, but they'd hung up before I was able to.
Okay, so they just wanted to get their comment in and leave? Fair enough. Bleach your seats. No problem. Steve Politiano, the Good Karma Brands president, joining us. Steve, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the official MVP of the NBA in 2024-2025. It got me thinking, because I think this MVP, now that it's fresh, of course you're thinking about it, I think this is going to be labeled as a pretty forgettable MVP in the long run of things. Is there someone to you, could be the NBA, could be NFL, could be, if you want to go to baseball has a ton of different random MVPs. Is there a forgettable MVP that comes to mind to you?
Hearing you think about this and talk about this, I cheat sheet a little bit and I look back. All right. And I'm not putting you on the spot here, Colin, because I don't expect you to know this answer. Do you know who won the MLB MVP in the 2020 COVID year?
In the AL or the NL?
AL, sorry.
The AL MVP 2020. Oh, that was the 60-game season. Oh, boy.
Yep.
I'm thinking about this. Oh, I have no idea. Let's think about who was good then. Because a good team then went 37 and 23. Steve, who was it?
Jose Abreu. Who even remembers anything about that White Sox team?
Jose Abreu.
They went 35 and 25. I had to look it up.
Yeah, and they lost to the Athletics in the wild card series. That's right. Yeah, how about that? Abreu. Interesting. That's a forget. The baseball has so many just random MVPs because all it takes is 1 year and such a storied history too. I think baseball you could find a million of them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I don't agree. I think SGA is about to be one of those next stars of the league, and he's going to be competing for MVPs for a long time. He plays both sides of the floor. He can do so many things. He's unselfish. He's a leader. Why are you thinking this is like an anomaly?
I don't think that we're going to see multiple of them. That's number one. Number two is I don't think this is a memorable MVP. Derrick Rose, it being a one-off, is a memorable MVP. And it's not fair for me to say because Gilgeous-Alexander's not done with his career. But the way I look at it is...
It's historic that he's had. Historic.
It's historic yet forgettable because they won 68 games. They were one of the best regular seasons of all time. And he had a tremendously efficient, put together a good season. And I think the bigger story in the regular season, at least, was Jokic, not Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And
see, I think forgettable would have been if, I know the Cavs distributed the ball well, but let's just say you went with Donovan Mitchell. Forgettable because that's a team that set record wins and flamed out. This team, and also SGA may get a second before everybody's big shot. Edwards gets a first.
Yeah, but any of these guys, there might be something to that. But also the MVP, you're also at the precedent of how good your team is. The way I look at it, though, is he doesn't necessarily move me as some big, fiery flares, firework type of star. That's not what he is. And I don't think he leans himself into that. I don't think his play style does either, which is why I think, just in totality, this is not going to be a memorable MVP.
Yeah, I think it's more just you're saying he's a product of today's, NBA, less hand checking on defense, more fast breaking, more teams giving up. I think you could look at it in that negative light. I think what they've done and what he's done this year and what they're doing, they're still playing is even though the MVP was already voted on, it's still is part of the story.
Now,
so I'm not with you there.
Okay, you're not with me here. The Oklahoma City Thunder took a 1-0 series lead. Let me ask you this. The OKC Thunder, a team who won 68 games. To me, they remind me of the Chiefs in the sense of the Chiefs two-peat where let's take out Mahomes, but the way they won, the defense, the winning, they get a couple calls here and there. It's almost ugly. It's going to happen. It seems inevitable is probably the word that is attached to them. It's not necessarily sexy. That is what Oklahoma City now feels like to me, and I almost feel like that they're going to slowly steamroll their way through the rest of the postseason and through the rest of these teams and eventually win a championship, and I'm not even sure everybody's going to enjoy watching it. That would be my takeaway. What's yours?
Well, they do play defense, and that is something that not everybody does, and they just don't have a lot of names. And there were other teams. Don't you think the Spurs sort of just slowly steamrolled everybody for a long, long time?
That's it.
It was never sexy.
That's the example. Yeah, and that's a dynasty, so people remember it because it was a dynasty. But any of those individual years, they slowly steamrolled you. And that was how that went. And maybe OKC lends itself more to how San Antonio did it, and maybe that's a good thing. But it doesn't necessarily provide the flair comparatively to some other champions.
No, you're right. So you're saying that SGA is more like a Scotty Scheffler. He might be a dominant player, but he doesn't have the chutzpah. He doesn't have the off.
There's no flair.
Off course, charisma.
Yeah, there's not a lot of flair.
Is what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
I would lean on this. Scheffler might be a good example. I think Scheffler has had pretty interesting out of play situations with the arrest, and he's on the media tour a lot, and he's very cool, and he gives off a good vibe with all the media he does. But you're right. He wins slow, ugly. He's a slow steamroll. He doesn't beat himself. He doesn't necessarily invigorate the crowd, but maybe it leans itself into that. That is why I'm under the impression that this will be a little bit more forgettable than maybe I'm led to believe.
Okay. Well, we'll see if they win. If they win the championship, it certainly won't be.
That's what I'm worried about. Steve, now, I want to segue really quickly. We'll get your thoughts on the Knicks at the end, because I know you love the Knicks. But the Yankees and the Mets played over the weekend. Subway Series, Juan Soto's first time back at Yankee Stadium. You're a Yankee guy. You have the New York ties for the baseball side of things. Now, this turned into a big, is Soto happy for the Mets? Do the Yankees care that Soto even left now, because all the Yankee replacements for the Soto money played great? Coming out of that series, I know it's a small sample size. I know we're only 60 games into the season. Are you under the impression that the Yankees are better off now or before with Juan Soto and without? What's your takeaway?
I said it then, and I'll say it now. You cannot mortgage your entire team on one player in baseball. And I was thrilled that the Yankees didn't sign him. I didn't even like that they were almost, that they were there on the doorstep. And what they did, and the fact that this series, those players, Goldschmidt, Fried, Devin Williams, all made differences. What to me, it just epitomized, the purpose of it. And we're talking. I know he's under a microscope. He almost can't win. The Mets are good, even though his stats are not worldly. He's making a difference there because they're going to avoid him and they'll pitch to other guys, and they're benefiting. We know Pete Alonso's benefited from him being in the lineup. You know that. But you think this thing's going to get to the finish line in 10 years happily and successfully? That's what I don't understand. Don't you just look ahead and say, he hasn't been anywhere for more than 3 years. How is this going to work?
So you're more hesitant about the Soto contract to the Mets based on his history of being a little bit more of a hired gun out of the Nationals to the San Diego Padres and then going to the Yankees. You're under the impression that it is more about that more so than him actually keeping this level of play throughout his contract.
Well, three things. One, that. Two, keeping the level of play. And three, what does it then prohibit you from doing? I didn't want the Yankees to sign Soto because I thought it provides the built-in excuse that we invested in Soto, so we can't go out and get that pitcher. We can't go out and make that trade. We have to rely on our farm system and call guys up earlier and let them take their lumps. And I just think you're setting yourself up as an organization, to have done that. He doesn't seem like the kind of overall makeup. Phenomenal hitter, but I'm talking about the overall makeup, leadership qualities, not sulking. I mean, guy doesn't run balls out sometimes.
You think
almost $1 billion?
You think he misses the Yankees?
I don't know that he misses the Yankees because I think if he wanted to be on the Yankees, he would have been on the Yankees. I think he probably doesn't want the level of scrutiny that he's getting.
He doesn't want the attention. I don't think he wants.
I don't think he misses the Yankees any more than he misses the Padres and the Nationals.
I think he thought he would embrace being a villain, and I don't think he embraces it. I don't think he loves it. Loves it.
There's got to be a different level of maturity, to kind of do that. And right. I don't think he's an incredible talent, but there's a maturity, there's a handling the media, and he doesn't seem to this point to have all of those characteristics.
He was the pride of New York City with that Yankee team, and then all of a sudden now he's hated by the majority of the city, and the Met fan is scrutinizing every at-bat he has because of the contract attached to his name. That's Steve Palazzino, of course.
Mets fan stuck.
Yeah?
Yeah, Mets fan is stuck.
Good Cornbread's president.
Sorry.
Now, Steve, welcome in Mike Rizzo. 4:43, the official time that Mike Rizzo is back in on the show with us. Mike, you're on with Steve. Welcome in. How are you? We've briefed Steve on what's going on.
I've been listening.
Mike, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, Steve, first off, I hope you have a good birthday coming up this weekend. I will not be there this weekend. I had some family stuff pop up, hence why I'm at the Flats in Cleveland at the ESPN Cleveland studios. But, yeah, we had some flight issues, Steve. So I originally got in 2:50, gave me enough time to get off the plane and get down here, but some thunderstorm warnings, some lightning warnings happened, and we couldn't deboard for an hour. I had to sit on the jetway for an hour and was not able to get into the car and go downtown until about 4:10. So we're a little late today. But we're doing great.
Steve?
I was letting your co-host react.
Listen, I was under the impression that he said a little late. He said a little late.
A little late.
4:43? Is that a little late?
A little late.
That's a little late?
Hey, hang on. In my defense, I said I'd reach out if there are problems. I had this understanding with my boss, Brian Rowitz, as well. And I immediately reached out when I landed.
It all goes back to the boss. I don't see. That's what I said, Mike.
Yep.
Mike didn't do. Mike just did what he thought was right, and that's why you need to have a manager sometimes to help guide you to the right decision. I'm guessing that the thousands of people listening, one of them would have given anything to have 43 minutes on the air.
Wow, Mike.
It's a tough scene. It's a tough scene. It's a tough look, Uncle Steve. Unfortunately, this was the only direct flight that today. This was kind of short notice. My cousin guilt tripping me into coming into the commencement. She came to all of the Rizzo kids' commencements. This is the last Rizzo graduating high school, so I had to make it work. Hindsight 2020.
This is your cousin's fault for graduating?
No, I'm not putting it on my. I'm just saying I wanted to make sure.
Decide to graduate.
I got a week. I got about a week and a half of notice, and this is what I mustered up. Hindsight 2020. I probably should have just taken a day. But I have my soccer show later on tonight as well, and I thought a 2:50 arrival in Cleveland when it takes 15 minutes to get from the airport to downtown would have been all right. But got burned a little bit with the flight landing and then unable to deboard because of lightning issues. So
lightning issues, cousins graduating.
By the way,
Go ahead, Steve.
You said there was one flight. Okay, I fly to Cleveland here and there. There's an 8:03 flight tonight from Fort Lauderdale.
Wow. So you could have went last night.
Very low price of $150, actually.
You could have went last night, Mike.
At the same time, though, I had stuff to do in West Palm last night. We had
8 p.m.
work. We had things to do. We had some. Yeah, had some plans. Had some things to do. Couldn't get out until today.
Steve, we appreciate you giving us the time as always. Looking forward to speaking against you really quickly. You think the Knicks or Pacers are going to win this series?
I think it's going to be a long drag it out. I think it's going to be fun, especially, to your point, Colin, maybe there's not as much like sex appeal about the Western Conference. This has the throwback element. Then you have Reggie Miller on the broadcast and all the history with the Knicks and the Pacers. I really think it's one of those that can go either way. I'll lean Knicks, but I would not be surprised. And who can bet against the Pacers at this point? It's been 2 years of surprising people.
And Steve, if you're in the West Palm area, you can head over to Duffy's and watch these games too, right?
Oh, you absolutely can. You know why May is great? Because May is National Burger Month at Duffy's. So grab your MVP card and head to Duffy Sports Grill for a big burger blitz celebration. I'm talking half-pound certified Angus beef original cheeseburgers and fries, starting at just $8.99 with the purchase of a beverage. And of course, your favorite sporting event, maybe it is an NBA playoffs, on any of the 80 TVs at Duffy's. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more about the May Big Burger Blitz. Because at Duffy's, our game is always on.
Appreciate it, Steve. Looking forward to speaking again soon.
Later, guys.
That's Steve Palatino, the Good Karma Brands president. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. Mike now joining us from Cleveland. We take a time out here. We return after this on ESPN 106.3.
Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music. The window's down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The quality of our choices affects the quality of our lives. So, when it comes to how you move, do you choose to see a doctor or go to the #1 orthopedic specialist in the world, backed by a team who custom tailor your treatment? Do you choose to live with limitations or live life to the fullest by going to the place that's #1 at getting people back to what they love? Choose better, move better. Locations in West Palm Beach and Wellington. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Introducing DQ Grill & Chill's new sauced and tossed buffalo chicken strips. A basket of 100% all white meat seasoned chicken strips now being served with blue cheese or ranch dressing dips. The blizzard of the month is s'mores and mixing bowl mashup. Fresh cookie dough bites and brownie batter for a unique sweet treat. Don't forget a DQ Grill & Chill cake this season. Stop in and pick one up or get a custom order. DQ Grill & Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Ready to take on any terrain? The all-new 2025 Defender 110 P300S is here. Built for those who crave adventure without compromising on luxury. Lease the powerful 2025 Defender 110 P300S for just $889 per month for 36 months. Whether you're tackling the toughest roads or cruising the city, the Defender is ready for it all. Don't wait. Visit Land Rover Palm Beach today and experience the Defender like never before. Terms and conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Listen up, it's the summer months in Florida. The last of the pre-tariff materials are here. The air conditioning industry is starting to adjust, and the prices and material pricing is rising. Catch on, get involved before it is too late, because availability of pre-tariff parts and systems will go as quick as summer temperatures are beginning to rise now that we're in May. John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Go there and check out their pre-tariff pricing before it really starts to kick in. They've been proudly serving Palm Beach County since 1960. Visit CassidyAC.com for more information. They've been keeping homes cool and comfortable. Cassidy's best part is their actual technicians can come to your home. They can troubleshoot, diagnostic checks. They can make sure your system, brand or age, doesn't matter. They can make sure it's up to date and you don't necessarily need an update. Or more importantly, if you do need an update, they can save you that big headache that you have in mid-July if your AC unit goes out and it's 105 degrees outside in South Florida. Stay protected. Stay proactive. Go check out John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Colin Russo, Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. The NFL had a couple rule changes. I guess the votes went down today, and the famous of the two was number one, the tush-push ban that was proposed by the Green Bay Packers did not pass, and second of which was the playoff reseeding, where the divisional winners wouldn't get the automatic home game. It would be strictly off of record per conference. That was withdrawn. That was proposed by the Cowboys. Let's start with the tush-push. Mike, the tush-push not being banned, it sounded like I was under the impression that this was going to be banned, and they sound like they changed their tune a little bit, and the tush-push is here to say. What's your reaction there?
I like it. I never understood why people wanted to ban it in the first place. I understand its dominance. I understand that maybe teams out there think that it's an unfair advantage to Philadelphia. But I challenge teams to stop it, number one. And number two, figure out your own way to do a damn tush-push. If this is something that is so broken within the league, figure out a way to do it. It's similar. Did they ban the shotgun formation, Kyle? When people, started going, doing the shotgun formation and spreading receivers out wide? I think this is just one of those unstoppable plays in football where defensive coordinators are going to have to figure out a way to stop it. And they haven't. And the Packers have been a huge team on trying to get this thing banned. And from my understanding, what I just read here, Eagle owner, the Jeffrey Lurie, made an impassioned speech in defense of the play. So tempers were high, apparently, during these meetings. So I'm happy that tush-push was there to say. I also saw that Jason Kelsey flew in to defend the tush-push as well. I'm completely fine with this sticking around. I like the play.
Yeah, the way I look at it, too, is the timing of it all. If you were to ban it the year after the Eagles won a Super Bowl, it makes it seem like it's a bit reactionary to the Eagles winning a Super Bowl and less about the actual play. Mm-hmm. If they had been a divisional round exit and then they banned the play, that's one thing. But the fact that this was the best team in the NFL by and large by a considerable margin, I think it's a little bit. It would look poor in the optics of it all, because it seems like you're doing it because the Eagles are too good and not because the play is faulty or malfunctioned or leads to more injuries. You're doing it for the wrong reasons if you were to actually ban it at this time. Now, my perspective, I agree with Mike that it was there. They're not exploiting anything. They have a 250-pound quarterback. You're allowed to go get a 250-pound quarterback. They have three maulers up front who combined for 1,000 pounds. You're allowed to go do that. You're allowed to run this play. But you can't do it to the level that they can because they perfected it and you haven't. So that, I don't think, is the perfect way to address it. But it also would seem reactionary if they were to do it in contrast because the Eagles have won this year. That would be the bad way. That would be the bad way to do it.
It seems like a witch hunt to that point. It seemed like a witch hunt. I don't necessarily understand the Packers really going to bat for this.
The Patriots and the Jets voting ban too. You guys never play the Eagles.
That's what I mean. I don't understand why the Packers are totally in on this. And listen, apparently Mike Vrabel has a problem with it too. I like it. I think it's one of those weird little quirks that Philly has in their back pocket that they could call in, and that's what separates them right now. Those third and shorts, fourth and short, that's what separates them right now from other teams. They got a play in their back pocket that they're able to consistently draw up. I like it. Guess what? Learn how to stop it and deal with it. Defensive coordinators, the Packers. I can't wait until Kyle, I don't remember the schedules off the top of my head. I can't remember if the Packers and the Eagles face off again this year. They played Brazil last year, but I would love to see the first touchdown of that game, that hypothetical game, be a tush push by Jalen Hurts. It'd be poetic justice to me.
Yeah, we had Evan Cohen on during Theoretically Speaking a couple hours ago, and he said the one thing, he's like, I better not see the Packers running that play anytime soon. I tend to agree. I don't think you'll see that because I think it really lends itself to whether the quarterback's willing to do it. But yes.
Do you think teams are going to try to do it, Kyle? I mean,
if they have the right player, I don't see a
Buffalo,
an idea. Why not? Yeah, Buffalo could totally do it. Buffalo should learn how to do it, honestly. But I mean, it's all about your interior offensive line, and if you have a quarterback that's above 230 pounds that can withstand number one, the beating, but number two, can physically overpower people just off being a runner. So I think you'd have to go down the list, and there's a slim amount of quarterbacks that are big enough. And more importantly, Anthony Richardson has gotten hurt so much, but he is a physical, a prowess individual that is big enough to be able to do it. Josh Allen, of course, is the obvious one, but there's not many guys. They're not doing it with Dak Prescott. They're not going to do it with Jared Goff. They're not going to do the tush push 6-7 times a game like the Eagles do. They're not doing that with Tua.
No.
So there's only a handful of guys that I think it only lends itself to, and half the teams don't even have the interior offensive line, and then the other half don't even have the quarterback. And then there's 2 or 3 that I could actually get away with it, and it's the Bills and the Eagles, probably. But nonetheless, what about let's flip that a little bit. The Lions withdrew the proposal to reseed the postseason playoffs. It sounded like they wasn't going to get the steam it needed in order to pass. They withdrew it. They've passed on it. The playoffs are going to stay the same. What's your reaction there?
I'd never thought the NFL playoffs had any problems. I'm completely fine with this not passing. I'm completely fine with the playoff structure as it is. I think in baseball, you're flirting with too many teams. I think in basketball, certainly with the play-in tournament, I can't stand that. I'm completely fine with the way the NFL playoffs are. Now, there is something when the NFC South is so terrible and they get a home game. That's just the luck of the draw sometimes. If you win your division and you hang a division banner, you're going to get a home game. I like that. I have completely no problems with it. And this is coming from an AFC North fan. So,
if there's a division where people get burned by it, it's the AFC North.
I have no problem with this staying a thing. So if you win your division, and I think even with the good teams, right? You take a look at the NFC East. It's a great division right now. I think Dallas is going to be good. Obviously, Philly, the defending Super Bowl champ, and you had 2 teams from there last year be in the NFC Championship game with the Commanders too. So you don't necessarily see them complaining about this either. I'm completely fine with the NFL current playoff structure. You shouldn't change it. You don't need to change it.
The one thing I'll say is if the tush push got banned, you would be a little annoyed by it at first, by the optics of it and the principle of banning something that one team was great at. But I probably would have gotten over it because at the end of the day, it's just one play that basically one team runs. Everybody's going to figure it out at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That would have a pretty marginal effect on my life and my viewing experience watching the NFL. The playoff seeding structure, I'd have a real problem with because I think it impacts how teams view regular season games. And I think, therefore, that would diminish rivalries, that would diminish playing teams twice in a season, and more importantly, that would diminish Week 18. That would be my takeaway. And maybe what people would say is, well, the whole idea of reseeding the playoffs is to make Week 18 more interesting because if you have a random divisional game, it's all about the regular seeding and nothing about the actual division winners. Well, I would say, the whole point of the divisional games is that they are more important. Yeah, you're not going to have every game being important in the NFL in the last week of the season. Keep the divisionals big, keep them important, keep them storied. 100% agree with you there. 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP 2024-2025. We just talked to Steve Politziner, the Good Karma Brands president. How about we loop in somebody similar to Steve? It is his son, Drew Politziner, joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Drew, welcome in. What's on your mind? What do you got for us?
Hey, thank you. So I heard earlier that you said that SGA is the most forgettable MVP ever. And to that I have to say that you are absolutely correct.
No, Drew, one thing, you agree with me. The one thing I'll say is I didn't say it was the most forgettable ever. I just said it was going to be quite forgettable in the grand scheme of things. But go ahead. Continue.
Well, I think that you can exaggerate that far, Will. He will be, and my reasoning is because he should have never been the MVP. The only thing he should be known for as being the MVP is the guy that shouldn't have won. Nikola Jokic had the first ever 30-20-20 game, led triple-double numbers as not just a center, but the entire season, record for highest scoring triple-double, and was the fastest player ever to reach 16,000 points, 8,000 rebounds, and 5,000 assists. All of those record-breaking numbers and all these record-breaking feats in this 2024-25 season, while SGA, only big stat is really that he averaged 30 points per season. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, this is probably Jokic's best performance in a full season.
So you're saying that
Do you agree with me on that?
I would. So one thing that the NBA is proving here is that Gilgeous-Alexander is right now put on a better season than Nikola Jokic's best season ever, and Nikola Jokic is an all-time great. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
I think they're just.
I don't believe.
I was going to say, too, I think they're just. Yeah, I think they're just quickly. I think they're justifying this by. They look where they released it. They released it, today? And it's no surprise to me because SGA beat Jokic one-on-one in the playoffs. And then SGA, was on the best team all season long. That's how they're spinning this. The 30 points a game and whatever. I think the NBA, if you ask them behind closed doors, they wanted to give the award to somebody else other than the Joker. I think it's similar to how early on in LeBron's career, you could have gave it to LeBron every single year, but they weren't going to do that.
And I'll just tell you these little stats. Jalen Williams on the Thunder, when he had his best showing performance in that final game and his better games in the series, is when the Thunder won. When he did not play well, the Nuggets won every single game. And you can look at the statistics, and that's correct. So you're basically saying that without the addition of him, it was really a one-on-one with Jokic and SGA. And Jokic had the output that was better than SGA, which I'm saying even as a center, he's doing this all. And I think even though people have said that he's won multiple times, he didn't deserve to be snubbed this year by a guy who won't be remembered as the MVP.
Good finish, Drew. Appreciate the call. Drew, one thing I completely agree with you on is I think the timing of it kind of stinks. The NBA probably needed a new face in there. The Thunder had a historic season, and Gilgeous-Alexander probably did enough to warrant the award. Is he the most valuable to his team? God, no. I don't think anybody's arguing that. But I think the optics and the story attached to it, they wanted it. It was a little bit more suited to him getting it with the Thunder. That was Drew Politano, of course, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. We'll do a little 5 and 5 on the flip side as we enter into second hour here of Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
Anajar and Levine.
Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Hi, it's Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike, and when it comes to the NBA, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I want it all. Tonight, the NBA Eastern Conference Finals begin with Game 1. It's the Pacers and Knicks. Coverage begins at 7:30 here on your home for the NBA playoffs, ESPN 106.3.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Transworld Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
As market dynamics change, the quality and service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Partner-owned since 1923, Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver value where others can't. Visit ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Oh, great. Just what I needed. More reasons to feel insecure. Have you seen the new ESPN 1063 billboards on I-95? Theoretically speaking with Theo Dorsey and C-Cat. Big smiles, looking all important. Russo and Rizzo with Colin and Mike, like they just solved world hunger. And me? No giant Evan Cohen face gazing down on traffic. Unbelievable. But hey, at least you can listen to us weekday mornings 6 to 10 on Unsportsmanlike along with Chris Canty and Michelle Smallman right here on ESPN 1063. Because let's be honest, a billboard couldn't contain this level of greatness.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Wing Wednesday, brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings. 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, handcrafted cocktails. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
While the rest of the country sits in traffic dreaming of a beach day, we're already here. Surf, sand, and sports talk all day long. ESPN 1063, because sports radio sounds better in paradise.
It's the Hard Rock Bet Battle of the Bets. 2 bets facing off. Winning side splits $250K in bonus bets every single day. Time to pick a side. Team underdogs or team favorites. Team over or team under. There's one way to settle this. Hard Rock Bet, Battle of the Bets. Pick a side for $1. Win your share of $250K or more today. Prize pool to be paid out in bonus bets, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game! in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3 with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. Also on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. Second hour here on a beautiful midweek edition, May the 21st, 2025. Mike in Cleveland, Colin in downtown West Palm Beach alongside Christian. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP. The OKC Thunder took a 1-0 series lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves last night. The Knicks and the Pacers take on Game 1 at MSG. That is tonight, 8 p.m. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals there. The Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals on the NHL and the Stanley Cup. Panthers won easy 5-2 over the Carolina Hurricanes. That looks to be a quick series, if I may say so myself. Christian Cat, our producer behind the glass today. Christian, what do you got for us today? How are you?
Doing fantastic. Played 18 holes of golf with 3 cranky old men. These guys just didn't like me. There's no two ways about it.
Were they buddies and you were the odd man out?
2 buddies. One had an accent, and I guessed wrong on what the accent was exactly.
All right, so can you try to redo it and we'll guess it?
No, I'm not a good accent guy. I'll be honest. No, I would do a disservice to this guy if I put myself in those shoes and tried to do it. What
was the accent? Yeah.
I thought it was Australian, and it was London. He was English.
British.
Yeah. And he said, to be fair, that the London British accent, there's different in the UK. The London British accent is the origin of the Australian accent, apparently, due to colonization. Maybe that's the wrong word I'm using, but people moving from there to Australia. So he said it's a good try, but no, you were incorrect. The guy was chunking everything. He was having a bad round. He used the rake to putt one of the balls on the green because he was so fed up. And this other guy was like cursing himself under his breath while we were in the cart, and it was very uncomfortable. Okay. 2 guys knew each other. One of them was the British guy. The other guy was a random knew him, and then another random with me. So I wasn't feeling welcome today.
I was about to say you had to be in a cart with somebody else. That's tough, dude.
You don't know I'm used to that, though.
You don't know him either?
It would have helped. Like I shared a car with someone on Monday that I didn't know and became good people, good friends.
At what hole did you screw up this accent?
3.
Oh,
but I wanted to do it before we teed off on 1. I heard him get in the cart, and I was trying to find the natural way.
You didn't ask where he's from?
No, I said, "Are you from Australia?" I could have easily lay up right.
What makes
where
you
you're
think
from.
that I'm from Australia, mate? Is it because of my accent?
See, that's the thing. He never gave me the mate.
I see.
Although, no, you're a soccer guy, so you know. Mate is in UK, too.
Mate's English. Bloke, I believe, is Australian.
No, bloke. Bloke is definitely UK as well.
Yeah. Australia does mate as well, but I have screwed up Australian and English before, and I've spent considerable amounts of time with Australian.
Christian, did you ask him if he's a soccer fan?
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't want anything to do with him after I got that wrong. But funny you should say, because
an icebreaker.
While I'm I don't know anything about soccer, so no. Maybe for you. While I'm putting my clubs back in my trunk, I want to get the hell out of there. I saw that he had a Chelsea driver head cover on, so that maybe if you were playing that day, it could have been.
Yeah, you didn't ask him about Nico Jackson and Cole Palmer?
It slipped my mind.
So you played with 3 randoms today, and all of them were in a bad mood. Every single one of them?
Pretty much.
Were you in a bad mood because of that as well? Maybe you weren't the approachable one. Have you thought about this?
It affected my game, man. I try to keep spirits high. I try to make jokes, and nobody was in the mood.
Have you made a friend from playing golf that you have considerably played with after the fact, from being on a random in a foursome?
I had a 72-year-old ask for my number. He wrote down his phone number from where we exchanged info. That was more of a him into me than me into him situation. He was more interested.
Oh, interested in what? Playing again?
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, the way you...
I've got a sugar mama back at home. I don't have a sugar daddy. Right. But on Monday, I met a guy right around my age, and we just met on Monday. I told you. I met someone, and we're going to play very soon. because we've got aligning off days and can play early in the morning. So the start of something special did happen this week.
That, I think, is the fun thing. You could actually make a friend, if you will.
And it's tough because when I can play golf on weekdays is not when normal working people can play golf. Like, you can't just, someone that has a normal 9 to 5 can't show up to play 18 holes at 7:20 a.m. Because of my hours, and I work a little bit later in the day, I can do that. So it's mostly retirees that are playing, or people that work in the service industry that get their Monday or Tuesday off instead of a conventional weekend off. Those are the people that I normally bump into.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good crop of people. That's the people I swim with. Good crop of people. You know, the retirees. You know, a lot of people I swim with in the mornings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They don't necessarily. They're not working.
It's a little bit of a ego booster too. Because listen, I'm not good at golf, but if I do get a hold of a drive, because I'm younger, I'm in my 20s. If I get a hold of a good drive, I can put that thing pretty far. I can get 230 yards, which is not far, but it's far compared to the senior citizens that I play on the same tee boxes as. Since I'm not good, I don't play on the pro tees. I don't play on the blues. I play on the whites.
Do you think it's an ego boost that you outdrive the 75-year-old?
Feels good. Feels pretty good.
Now, you better not be hitting from the senior tees like him, Christian.
I do. I do play
you
from
hit from the senior tees?
Yes, I do. I play from the whites. Until I break 90 from the whites, I'm not going to move back. That's my rule of thumb so far.
I can't knock that. I can't knock that.
I'm a man of honor. I'm not going to fool myself into thinking.
He's hitting in the hundreds. He's hitting in the hundreds.
Isn't there something to be said about wanting to play where you're technically supposed to be played? I thought the only reason I'm pushing you back on this is because you and I both agree to each other that we count every stroke when we play and we don't jump through hula hoops.
Yeah, exactly. But tee boxes are not by age. Even though you hear senior tees, you hear ladies tees. No. It's based on handicap. When you get better at golf, you move further back. That's how it really should be. And until you break 90 at those tee boxes, that's when you can graduate backwards. Because we're not doing anybody any favors. Well, I'm not doing myself any favors if I have on par fours 200 into the green every time. Like, what am I doing there? This is stupid. I can't get to the green in 200 yards on one swing on my second shot on a par four, so this is a waste of time.
Fair enough. I can't knock that. I can't knock that. I think it's more about skill level than age, too. I tend to agree.
The only reason I knock it slightly is because of the conversation we had a few days ago.
I will say it does set me up for failure when I am playing for money and scrambles.
You got to play back.
Exactly. You do have to play on the same tee box as everybody else. It does put me kind of in uncharted waters, which I found out 2 weekends ago and the weekend before that, playing for money, playing in a scramble, playing best ball, because you can't really circumnavigate the system that way. But if I'm just playing for my own score, white tees are the way for me.
Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Let's bounce around a little bit. On the flip side of things, we'll take a timeout on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar and Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach. Wing Wednesday, brought to you by Hurricane Grill and Wings. 30 bold flavors, ice-cold beer, handcrafted cocktails. Your home for sports is Hurricane Grill and Wings. Find your spot at hurricanewings.com.
While it's not always possible to see contaminated water coming out of the faucet, the taste is difficult to ignore. And what about plastics and pharmaceuticals now in the water? The team at Culligan is here to help. Culligan offers water testing and reverse osmosis systems designed to filter out those contaminants right at the source. Culligan has been helping the local community with water issues since 1936. Schedule your appointment today at Culligan.com.
Hey, Culligan man!
Mike Rizzo here with the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, These are just a few young and up-and-coming names within the WNBA. And speaking of the WNBA, the league's opening weekend of games were at nearly 90% capacity in their arenas. A couple sold out as well. The Fever and Mystics each sold out. And I think a lot of this has to do with the young and up-and-coming stars that have been drafted into the league the last couple of years. The WNBA has been a very popular sport, and it's probably only going to get bigger. This is the Sports Business Minute presented by the FAU MBA in Sport Management Program. Accelerate your career in sports with the program committed to developing top-notch executives and managers with a focus on the job placement for students and graduates. The FAU MBA in Sport Management Program.
This is the Inter Miami save of the game.
Ian Frey could not make a defensive play on the run. Angulo into the box, cuts it back to his right foot. Ustaria's save with his left hand off balance, sprawling, and he's able to cut it down to the top of the 6-yard area. There's Orlando City's first shot on target.
Brought to you by PNC Bank. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865.
You're out here grinding, handling life, and keeping your sports take sharp. And guess what? ESPN 1063 sees you. Keep it up.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 1063.
We got 2 game ones tonight in the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup and the Eastern Conference in the NBA playoffs. 8 p.m. start for both of them. Pacers at Knicks. And they get the Oilers and the Stars facing off in game 1 of that series up in Dallas, or down in Dallas, I should say. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 1063 with Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Cat. And because you got these games on, because you got a lot to look forward to, you can sprinkle a little action with it on Hard Rock Bet.
Absolutely, and I've been hot as a stove, baby, with the NBA. If I had to make an NBA pick tonight, give me those Knicks at home, baby. Now, the Pacers have been my kryptonite. They've been my gambling kryptonite, and not only for my favorite basketball team, but with my good friends at Hard Rock Bet, I like the Knicks. Coming up tonight at 4.5. We were on the Thunder last night, and the Thunder blew out Minnesota in that first game. Good performance by Julius Randle. Not enough, though. So give me the Knicks coming up with our good friends at Hard Rock Bet at that 4.5 line. Download the app today, folks. It's so easy. The interface is good for the new gambler, and it's great for the experienced gambler. You know, my buddy Gomer up here, he tells me all the time, he is an experienced gambler. He tells me all the time how much he enjoys that Hard Rock app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and physically present in the state of Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you're concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. That's 1-888-ADMIT-IT. Kyle, do you like anybody on the hockey side tonight?
I'm going to take, if I had to put money on it, first game, I'm going to take Edmonton tonight. I think Edmonton's going to punch them in the face, and I think Dallas is great. But weirdly enough, Edmonton's got a lot of juice right now. I think they're extremely motivated. A lot of rest, so maybe they'll come out a little flat. But I do think that Edmonton will at least steal one of the first 2 in Dallas, and I'm gonna bank on game 1. Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Let's bounce around a little bit with a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
And Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for The 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
Last night, the Thunder took Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, rolling into the second half with a 114-88 win. Here's Anthony Edwards following the loss about whether or not his tweaked ankle factored into maybe getting stifled a little bit.
No, not really. I definitely got to shoot more. I'm to 13 shots. I'll say probably just get off the ball a little more, play without the ball. I think that'd be the answer, because playing on the ball, they just want double and sitting the gaps all day. So got to go watch some film and pick it apart. We'll figure it out.
So, yeah, not an ankle problem, but you need to get more shots, says Anthony Edwards. My question for you guys, Colin and Mike, what is the path to a Timberwolves upset series win?
It's not 50 shots. It's not 50 threes you got to take. You got to be able to beat them on a balanced offense, and that is what Minnesota is good at. Yesterday was not balanced. Anthony Edwards couldn't get going. Julius Randle got a great first half, sort of tailed off in the second. They didn't have enough offense from enough pieces. You got to keep it balanced. And I think that OKC Thunder sat back and dared them, as Anthony Edwards said, to shoot some threes and make some threes. Can't shoot 50 threes. I don't think that's necessarily the right path to victory. OKC is going to have their games where they're a little flat offensively. You're going to have to be able to take advantage of that. Remember, you just got to steal one of the two in OKC. That's the goal. So I would say that you got to balance it out offensively and don't turn the ball over. Too many turnovers giving the ball to OKC.
Oklahoma City gets you out of your comfort zone on offense, I think, a little bit. They make things tough now. I mean, Naz Reid went 1 for 11. Anthony Edwards, 5 of 13. 13 shots. He needs to take more. DiVincenzo, 3 of 15. They shot 34% from the field, 24% from 3. I mean, you see it on the score sheet, too, because they scored 88 points. I'm down on this Minnesota team, and I still think that Oklahoma City is probably going to run away with this thing in 5 games. Crucial game 2, I think, coming up for the Timberwolves. Now, you know the old saying, it doesn't start till someone wins on the road. Minnesota could easily, swing this thing back to their home court. Finch is a good coach. Figure a couple of things out. But, Colin, I'm still under the assumption that this is Oklahoma City. I really am.
Number 2.
The Buffalo Bills are this NFL preseason's Hard Knocks feature. On a scale from 1 to 10, how enthusiastic are you about this selection? On HBO Max, not Max. It's HBO Max now.
Do we have to fix it now?
Yeah, it's HBO Max.
Have they changed that officially yet?
Yes.
They have. Okay. I like this selection. I'd rather see an interesting team than a non-interesting team. I'd rather see a team in contention than not in contention. Now, Hard Knocks is you're all at the mercy of how much the team gives you. You're going to learn pretty early on if they're going to hold cards close to their chest. And if Buffalo's going to do that, then I'm going to tune out pretty quickly. I don't think Hard Knocks has been excellent in quite some time. And I think if we're going to be focusing on a bunch of guys who are going to get cut before the season starts, I know that's somewhat of the idea, but you got to put some light on the stuff that the people and the characters that we're interested in. I'm very curious to see how much they show and if they show anything at all.
Christian and Colin, I think I've told you a couple of times, I'm not really a Hard Knocks guy. I feel like when your team is on there and it's a bad experience with your team being on there, you're kind of just tuning out. I don't know, man. Is that not true, though? Like, how pissed, how angry is a Buffalo fan that their team's on this?
No, I love it. We talked a little bit earlier today,
okay.
Mike.
Okay.
This exudes confidence because the Buffalo Bills were 2 quarterback sneaks away from beating the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. And allowing the cameras in, they are completely and 100% secure in the operation that they're running. If I'm a Bills fan, I'm ecstatic. If you're a Bills fan, you should be ecstatic.
And I know fellow fans, that are like Riz. I love the inside, information. We don't get to see this stuff. I completely get that. It's just not my cup of tea. I will tune into this, though, because I love Josh Allen. You guys know he's my favorite quarterback in the league, and I can't wait to see some behind-the-scenes stuff with him.
Hopefully they show some stuff. That's the goal. Just show something.
Number 3.
And on the second half of that Roger Goodell announcement out of the NFL and HBO, The NFC East is chosen as the midseason focal point for Hard Knocks. I won't ask you about that because that doesn't get us near the amount of views because it's mid-season. But which NFL division are you most interested in 2025?
This is interesting.
It's a good question. Great question, Christian.
NFC East is an obvious one because you got the Giants sitting there, you get the Cowboys, you get the Commanders now. We're trying to return to glory a little bit and keep going on the forward momentum. You got the Eagles sitting there. That's probably the most interesting division in football. But personally interested, I think there's some questions about what's going to happen with the NFC South, how Carolina's going to look and how Atlanta's going to look. More importantly, how the Buccaneers are going to be. I think that is interesting, and also with the Saints. But that's more of the middling and then bad teams. I would say those are my two answers. The NFC South and then the NFC East. Those would be my two.
Christian, bias aside, it has to be AFC West. Look at the head coaches there. You got Harbaugh. You got Carroll. You got Reed coming off a Super Bowl loss. And you have Sean Payton coming off a year where everyone's giving him his flowers because he made Bo Nix look like a pretty darn good quarterback. I think it's got to be the AFC West for that. Is it the year where the Kansas City Chiefs finally don't win that division too? 2015, boys. 2015 was the last time that the Chiefs did not win that division. That's an insane streak that they got going on right now. I think it's got to be the AFC West with the coaching situation, Christian.
It does kind of seem like all the other teams in that division got better. And
right.
Have we said the same thing maybe every single offseason?
And listen,
maybe we were right last year.
Yep.
But you're right. The Chargers with Harbaugh are obviously better. Brandon Staley might have been one of the worst head coaches the league has ever seen. And Rizzo, you're right with Bo Nix being a home run pick at 6, I think. In the draft a couple years ago, the AFC West might be a good answer.
He was like 13.
Later.
He was like 13.
So, Christian, you're thinking he was like the final quarterback selected.
You're thinking about J.J. McCarthy.
That's what you're thinking of. And Christian, it's totally fair because I also think the Chiefs, I think there's a step back this year. I've been saying, we've been waiting for the Chiefs to not come out of the AFC for years now. I think this is the best year we've had in a while. They looked vulnerable in that Super Bowl, and I think a lot of teams might adjust to what's been going on there in Kansas City. Travis Kelce, older too, and does Andy Reid want to be there past this year? These are all storylines we'll be following.
And you said bias aside because you maybe impulsively wanted to mention the AFC North. You're a Browns fan.
Big time.
And I think that's a strong case in an unbiased opinion with the Baltimore Ravens being right there, obviously a 2-point conversion away from going to overtime with the Bills. The Steelers, maybe you get the Rodgers saga, maybe you don't. So that's a coin flip. They're a lot less interesting if they don't have Aaron Rodgers on that team. Maybe as a mockery for the Steelers with Rodgers, maybe not. The Bengals, underperforming to put it lightly in 2024. And then we don't got to do the Brown stuff because the Brown stuff is just beginning.
Yeah.
But we move on.
The circus.
We move on to number 4.
Number 4.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he has been named the NBA MVP. This is the 7th consecutive year that the NBA MVP has come from someone born outside the USA. Pop quiz. Can you name the last natural-born American who won the NBA MVP?
James Harden?
Yeah, I was going to say Harden.
Rizzo, you got it.
We both got it. I jumped the gun.
Before this 7-year streak of MVPs coming from outside the states, there were 11 consecutive United States of American MVPs. My question for you, Mike, and you, Colin, who will be the next American NBA MVP?
I don't think Edwards is going to get one anytime soon.
Kyle, I got mine. Can I go?
Go ahead.
Cooper Flagg.
I don't think I'm ready to say that.
I am.
I like it.
I love that kid. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, and granted my sister works for the team, I'm, a phony. But I got my Mavericks gear on today. Give me Cooper Flagg as my final answer, Christian.
I'd have to think about this a little bit. I don't know who's going to take that major next step. I don't know if there's an American right now in the league that I'm willing to put confidence in that this is an MVP candidate right now.
You ready for a dark horse answer?
Okay.
LeBron James.
No.
Oh, the NBA would so do that.
Hang on, are we?
If he had a good season next year and he said it was going to be his last ride,
He give you 79 games and 30, 10, and 10.
Boys,
I don't think he's going to do that, but
as a show, are we still? This is LeBron's farewell tour coming up next season. I'm there. I think I'm there at this point.
you're not going to hear about it probably till August when the NBA needs a shot in the arm to compare against the NFL.
And college football.
Yeah, I think that they're going to strategically plan that announcement if that's the case. I'm under the impression that we're not going to see 2 tops. I would guess 1 more year of LeBron, but 2 tops. I mean, he's too old. He doesn't want to do this. It sounds like it's getting harder and harder for him to stay motivated to keep doing what he does. If he doesn't necessarily see the light at the end of the tunnel, I have a hard time seeing him continuing to do it because he has every statistic in the book.
And he has nothing left to prove, Christian.
He's got every stat in the book.
He's got nothing left to prove. I think he wants to own a team too, guys. I think he wants to move on to the next part of life, and that's owning an NBA team.
Yeah, he wants to be involved. He could run the league if he wants to.
Honest to God.
He could run the league. If he really put some effort into it, he could totally do that. But we'll see. What's number 5? We got one more?
Number 5.
Tom Cruise was on the Pat McAfee show today.
What a guest. What a guest.
Of course, the new Mission Impossible is coming out.
Could you get Tom Cruise, Christian?
I couldn't get Tom Cruise.
You couldn't get him? Okay.
It's hard to get Steve Politzino.
Christian, yes, jeez. Christian, are Christian and Colin, quickly, are you guys Tom Cruise guys?
Love Tom Cruise.
Okay, Christian?
Love Strong.
Yeah,
I don't mind him. I'm
interested
interested in him.
That's the president of movies right there.
I'm the same. Christian, I'm the same way. Give me Marky Mark over him, but I understand.
Mark Wahlberg over Tom Cruise?
I like Wahlberg.
What's the classification we're talking here? Just in general, just who I like more?
Leo, I like Leo more.
Leo's
I like
fine.
Marky Mark. I like
Leo's
Marky
fine.
Mark more. Now, I love
Adrian Brody.
Let me explain.
No.
Kyle, quick. I know I'm butting in here. Mark Wahlberg, Entourage, Colin, he wrote it. It's like my favorite show ever. Loosely based off of Mark Wahlberg.
Right. He was an executive producer. I'm not sure if he wrote it, but he did.
Oh.
He was an executive producer.
Sorry.
That is Mark Wahlberg's sort of baby.
Yep.
Tom Cruise guy, you know what I love about Tom Cruise?
What's that?
Everybody's sort of under the same impression. I was telling Christian earlier today that he's pretty much an insane individual. He's just he's just insane. Like, thank God this guy didn't get into politics or something like that. He's making movies. It's almost like let him have his fun and put all this effort and power into the love of putting together a big-time movie instead of God knows what else. I know he's got the questionable stuff with the Scientology, who knows? But I think everybody just decides to overlook that because he's the CEO of movies. He is the president.
I kind of like that. If he put this energy and this motivation and his dedication,
if he was a war general, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
Like, he could probably accomplish anything he wanted to accomplish if he interested in that thing. So I don't want the launch codes in this guy's hands, but it's okay if he's going to be the star of the Mission Impossible franchise. My question for you guys, I love your opinion on Tom Cruise. I'm always welcome on that. What's your favorite action adventure movie / franchise?
Action adventure?
I'd say
does Lord of the Rings and Star Wars fall under the category?
Probably.
Too sci-fi. That's sci-fi.
No, Lord of the
or
Rings
fantasy.
isn't. Lord of the Rings isn't though. Is it? Okay.
Fantasy, sci-fi. I put them like that.
Okay.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is great.
Oh, Indiana Jones.
Now listen, I'm excited to see this Mission Impossible movie this weekend. Apparently, it's not that good, unfortunately. But the 6th one of that, called Mission Impossible Fallout, it's one of the best action movies I've ever watched. I watched it on the bike on Monday. So
you watched it?
Well, I have a bike set up in my living room. I could watch something while I'm doing it.
I thought this is a morning bike around the block.
I'm not there yet. I can't watch a movie and do that.
Let's hope you're never there. Let's hope you're never there, Colin.
So I'm taking the fantasy and the sci-fi off the board.
The Dark Knight, is that action adventure?
Ooh, it's tough.
Say that again, Colin.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Superhero more so, right? Isn't it different in a league of its own?
Probably.
It is. Oh, man.
That would be on there for me. Action adventure. Because I'm looking at my list right now. And see, I don't know if you couldn't give me this answer. If Heat, I don't think that counts as an action adventure. That's a cop movie. It's a cop robber movie.
I count that.
That's my favorite one ever. Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, 1995. Excellent, excellent, excellent film.
I will raise you John Wick in the John Wick franchise.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is that is the action adventure movie. That's a good one.
So Christian, they are calling Lord of the Rings action adventure, but since you took it off the board, give me Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh.
Love Pirates. Good movie.
I kind of do like it. What's Johnny Depp's favorite football team, Riz?
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know.
It's not out of nowhere. That was a trivia question asked to me and Colin earlier on in the day.
I would have guessed the Buccaneers. Kind
of close. The Miami Dolphins. If you didn't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But they're coming out with an Ana de Armas John Wick
which looks like it stinks.
movie.
Which looks like it stinks. By
Ballerina?
Yeah. It looks like it stinks.
She was an action lead in another straight-to-streaming movie with, I think, Chris Evans. Chris Evans, and it looked awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was not a good movie. Her agent stinks.
Did you see the movie Deep Water with Ana de Armas and Ben Affleck?
I couldn't get through it. Another movie that stinks.
Yeah, couldn't get through it is right. That scarred me for life because I love both those actors.
Is Inception action adventure?
Yeah,
I changed my answer. Inception is my favorite movie ever.
Lost me at Ben Affleck, Christian. Colin, I still need to watch Inception. We've talked about this on the show before.
Tom Cruise, thank God he's not a war general. Thank God he didn't go into politics.
You got to explain the CEO of movie thing.
Tom Cruise is the movies.
You got to explain that.
He is the movies.
He's not.
Yeah, he brought back movie theaters with Top Gun Maverick.
Top Gun Maverick.
Christian.
Was
because we had a pandemic.
No, movie theaters were on life support, and he strapped those things
he's
on.
100% right. He's 100% right.
Rubbed the resuscitators and then pumped up the movie theaters.
Gotta say, Colin, that was a great movie.
That movie
that was a great movie.
Must watch.
And I'm not saying I don't like Tom Cruise movies. His whole shtick of, it's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The whole shtick is like blowing things up, whatever. Dude, I could watch 3 of them, but your 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th one of you sitting there blowing things up, and that's your shtick. I'm kind of over.
That's his new stuff.
I'm over
the new stuff. He's more of the action star. That I agree with. But Cruise has been in some brilliant Oscar-nominated films.
Agreed.
He's got a career like Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. When he was number 8,
so to speak. Kobe into this.
No. He's Kobe.
Don't bring one of my goats into this.
Tom Cruise, when Kobe was number 8, that was the early part, the 90s, 80s and 90s of Tom Cruise. That was, he was in Magnolia. He was in A Few Good Men. He was in Top Gun, the original one, Jerry Maguire. He was in Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick's last movie. And then he switched to number 24. And then he starts making Mission Impossible. And he starts making Top Gun Maverick. And he just becomes a volume shooter. So that was Kobe when he became 24.
Fair. Listen, A Few Good Men is he's in some unreal
Rain
movies.
Man. He was in Rain Man.
Love Jerry Maguire. I love the Maguire movie too. Listen, Kyle, he's a great actor. One of the best, probably that has come up. But at the same time, the shtick of blowing things up, I'm a bit like Jack Reacher. Do we need a second one? Like, I made the joke with my boy, Jack Reacher reaching for a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, Colin,
that movie stunk. I agree with that.
Did we need a second one of Jack Reacher?
That movie stunk. That I could agree with. He was in The Outsiders. How about that? Cruise has been in some great movies. And he was in one of my all-time favorites called Collateral, which came out in 2004, which was when he actually played a hitman in that movie. He was a bad guy. It was great.
Kyle, I love actors who could switch it up. You know what I mean? Play multiple roles. That's why Denzel Washington, Leonardo DiCaprio
is the president.
The remake of The Mummy sucked.
That movie stunk. Terrible. Awful movie. He was in Tropic Thunder, another great one.
There was a remake of The Mummy.
Yeah.
Yes.
2017. I think there was another remake of the remake, too.
Without Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and who was the guy?
No, you're thinking it's Brendan Fraser you're thinking of. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was never in that.
Well, hang on. The
Scorpion King.
Yes, that movie was great. Loved that movie growing up.
So those aren't the same universes. They're just similar because they take place in tombs and such. I believe so. Night and Day with Cameron Diaz.
Not a bad movie. Not a bad movie.
Never seen it.
Not a bad movie.
A ripoff.
Mission Impossible 6 Fallout. See, I'm telling you, it's one of the best. I saw it 5 times in theaters. 5 times.
6?
Mike, it's great. You don't even need to watch any of the other ones. It's a standalone film. Yes, 100%.
That's my problem. When I hear about how fantastic these later sequels are, I am compelled. I got to watch everything before it.
You don't want to do that. I understand that. I understand that.
I can't get through Mission Impossible 2. And I stop there, so I never get to the ones that are known as all-time great movies. That's why I haven't seen what you're referring to.
You could start with 6 and be completely fine.
I think I Spark notes it, know some background. Are there any surprises that I need to know the call?
I truly think they are worth your time. I think they're a great set of action because he does a mind-numbing stunt in every single one. And I know that's not the whole reason you're there. They're still good movies, but like in the 4th one, he's on the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, and he's climbing on the outside of it. And they did that in camera.
Have they gone to space yet in Mission Impossible?
No.
All right, good.
Mission Impossible is interesting. For those who haven't seen it, it draws the very thin line between James Bond and Fast and Furious. It's in the middle. That's where that is.
Good, because one of my college roommates, freshman year, for his birthday, it was to go to the movie theater that was like 4D, where your seats move and stuff. And it was for Fast and Furious, the one after Paul Walker died. Not the emotional one.
Fate of the Furious.
Yeah, not the one that had Paul Walker in it.
That was a great movie.
The next one after that.
Fate of the Furious.
Yeah. And I was laughing because of how bad the dialogue was, because how stupid I thought it was. But I had to stifle it because it was his birthday and he wanted to watch that movie.
Now, I'm a defender of the Fast and Furious movies.
Disgusting.
Not the later ones. Not the later ones. Up until
Fate
7.
of the Furious.
Fate of the Furious. And then it's Furious. It's Fast X, and there's like Furious 9 or something like that. I'm not sure.
God. All right, guys, last one. Bourne. The Bourne movies are great.
Good movies.
You know what's better than Bourne movies? The Universal Studios Bourne Action Play. If you're ever an annual pass member, take a day and do the Bourne Action Play because it's awesome. I wouldn't waste a day if you have a one-day pass and you go to Universal. There's so many roller coasters and things to do at the parks. But if you're an annual pass holder, go see the Bourne Play. It's awesome. That's the only thing. I tried to watch.
The play, like a theater? Like a production?
Uh-huh.
That's bizarre.
Stunts that are happening, like they're in front of you, and like you think, like, well, how do they like not mess that up? It's live in action, but it happens.
I would love to get Tom Cruise on the show. I know I would do a killer interview with Tom Cruise.
Would he like you?
Yes, because he'd appreciate Tom appreciates passion, and I'm passionate about his movies. I like his movies, and I've seen all of them, most of them. I think Tom Cruise would sense that.
Has Mad Dog ever gotten Tom Cruise?
No, he couldn't get him on. Tom Cruise is the president of movies.
Can you stop saying that?
Mike,
you said CEO, and now you're saying president.
Mike, he's the president of movies, and he doesn't need to be elected. He's the president.
It's not true.
He's the president of movies. The guy lives for the cinema. Christian Cat, Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo taking a time out here, closing out, do a little streaking. Next on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The playoffs are in full swing, and you can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JOEQ. That's JOEQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. No application fee if you apply by May 30th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs. automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation, serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
Banyan Printing. For 47 years, the trusted partner for all your printing, mailing, and signage needs. And 2025 just brought something big to Banyan. Introducing Banyan's new press. Bigger, faster, and more competitively priced than anything you'll find anywhere in the Palm Beaches. Think variable data postcards, bulk mailings, and high-quality print on stocks up to a 24-point board. Banyan Printing. Visit banyanonline.com and discover how your business's printing materials can get bigger and better.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
We got 2 games tonight. You got Edmonton at Dallas, and you got the Indiana Pacers at the New York Knicks tonight on the playoff side of things. You got a full slate of MLB games as well. It's Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Catt. If I could place a Let's Go streaking number on the box office of Mission Impossible 8, if there was one available, I would bet the over. I would bet the over. That's the type of movie you root for because you're rooting for movies. It's like when Mike and I don't have a dog in the fight in the NBA Finals, we want to root for what's best for the league. What's best for the league is for that movie to make money. The CEO of movies.
That's I respect him as an actor. He's one of the best.
He never won an Oscar. He should win. He doesn't have one.
But president and CEO, that you lose me there. So, I put Harrison Ford higher than him.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I'm talking about this guy controls the direction of cinema.
But my thing, Colin, is Harrison Ford is known for being somebody, and that somebody is Han Solo.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have that with Tom Cruise.
Oh, yeah, you know him as Ethan, right? What's his last name? Hunt.
Well, he has the Mission Impossible series. That's his thing. I understand what you're saying, but Cruise, Ford is a movie star.
All right.
Ford is a movie star. Tom Cruise is the president.
Dude, all right. How about this? Give me a Mission Impossible. So you say 6. Give me the best one.
6.
Give me. Okay, but 1 and 2 aren't the best ones?
Well, all right. There's 7 of them. If I were to rank them, it would go 6, 5, 4, 7, 3, 1, 2.
How the hell did he get 6, 5, and 7 when 1, 2, and 3 stink?
Because he's the president. He can pull some strings.
Because he's the president of movies. He controls his own budget.
Wow.
You just led yourself into your own conclusion.
Kyle, wow. Wow.
He's the president of movies. That's it. Let's go streaking with Hard Rock Bet.
Time to put your money where your mouth is.
We can't lose. We can't lose. We can't lose.
Survive and Advance is the name of the game.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure!
Tail the hot hand.
Continue this improbable run! 22 consecutive wins!
And fade the cooler.
Everything he touched turns to mush. He would go to the racetrack, and the teller would give him his tickets already ripped out.
Let's go streaking.
We're going streaking!
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Let's go streaking Hard Rock Bet, where myself, Christian, and Mike make a pick against the spread over-under, but where the whole goal is you're trying to stack wins or stack losses. You're trying to win or lose consecutively. I am win 1. Mike, you win 5?
Win 5. And Christian, I believe you have the record of 6, correct?
I have won 6. I've won 7 in a row.
Okay,
I
so
have
that's
lost 6 in a row, and I'm currently, that's my personal best. I'm really good at this game. Doesn't mean you're good at gambling. I am currently losing 4 in a row after another loss last night where the Dodgers, they won in extra innings.
Okay. All right, I'll start here. I'm going to take the over tonight. It's a high goal total between the Oilers and the Stars, 6.5. I'm going to take the over. Over 6.5 will be mine. I'm trying to roll together 2 wins. Mike?
Knicks 4.5. I've won my last 5 NBA playoff bets. Let's go Knicks 4.5, hopefully to make it 6 tonight.
I am taking the under in the Pacers-Knicks game, under 221.
Under was a good bet last night, too. That's what got me out of the slump.
And get a buzzer beater. Final score, 103-102.
Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll be back at it tomorrow from 4 to 6 p.m. I'll be live from 2 to 4 as well with Christian doing a little Theoretically Speaking. Tom Cruise is the CEO of movies. He is to the point because I am going to an IMAX theater and buying a separate ticket other than my movie pass. How about that? Nice. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
ESPN West Palm is highlighting the best performance of the week, presented by Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Every week, a different team will be featured